Hey, what's up, y'all? I was cracking this D. About to react to this bit by Real Reality Gossip. There were so many red flags in Cynthia Bailey and Mike Hill's relationship. Okay, if you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, then you know that they got married recently, and I think she decided not to be on the show anymore because of that. Maybe she wanted to like focus on her marriage or whatever the case, but now they didn't split. So yeah, we're gonna go over the red flags and what happened. Let's watch.
Fans of the Real Housewives of Atlanta have watched Cynthia Bailey as she got married to Peter Thomas, got divorced, and jumped back into the dating world. Back in 2019, when she revealed she was dating TV personality Mike Hill, we were so concerned we made a video about it, which we've linked in the description box. 3 years later, our concerns have multiplied. With sources reporting that Cynthia and Mike are separated and have filed for divorce, now's a good time to peel back the layers of this romance and expose the glaring red flags that so many people ignored. But before we dive deep into other people's business, don't forget to scoop up some
y'all go support her.
Perfect single and a flip. To give you some more insight into why Cynthia and Mike might not be the perfect match, let's rewind a bit. In 2018, Mike was single and a father of 2 children from his 2 previous marriages. In his memoir, which we've linked for you in the description box, Mike revealed that he didn't properly propose to either of his ex-wives, and he jumped into marrying both of them before he was ready.
Oh, why?
He cheated on both of his ex-wives and the majority of his girlfriends. During his second marriage, social media platforms were becoming more popular, and Mike admitted he used the sites to send inappropriate messages to other women. In his memoir, where he spills all of his messy tea, he describes how cheating ruined his relationships and how he had very little control over his urges.
Oh.
In 2018, he was asked if he'd be interested in appearing on a dating game segment of Steve Harvey's show featuring a cast member of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. His first question was, which housewife is it? You see, Mike and ex-wife number 2 used to sit up and watch the Atlanta Housewives together every Sunday, so he was very familiar with all of the cast members, and there were some that he was definitely uninterested in. When he was told that Cynthia was the cast member that was going to appear on the dating segment, Mike agreed to be on the show. From watching her on Real Housewives, he thought she was classy, and she carried herself well. He also knew that she had her hands in several business ventures, and he was under the impression that she wasn't actually looking for love. He thought Cynthia was going to use the show to promote one of her products. And as for Mike, he admitted he wasn't looking for love either. In his memoir, he dropped a bombshell. Here's why I went on that show. For years, I wanted to come over.
I like her. That's hilarious. Changing her voice. That is weird. That is weird, though, that he was sitting watching Cynthia on TV every week with his wife at the time, and then they divorced, and then he go on to date her and then marry her after. That's a little odd. If I was his second wife, I'd be like, bitch, you was watching her like that the whole time, every week? You ain't shit, you know?
Into the entertainment spaces. And not only that, Mike was also seeing someone at the time, although he insists he wasn't in a committed relationship. After choosing Mike, producers wanted Mike and Cynthia to have their first date on the rooftop of the studio immediately after the episode was filmed. However, Mike had to head back to his sportscaster job at Fox Sports, so he hugged Cynthia and told her he was interested in seeing her again. Cynthia, on the other hand, was impressed about the situation because she admitted she had a distraction in her life. In his book, Mike alluded to Cynthia's distraction being a man that she was dating.
Oh, okay, they're both her dating.
The following month, Cynthia agreed to appear on Mike's LA-based podcast. After the interview, Mike invited her out for sushi. Cynthia had to conduct a pre-scheduled phone interview during their sushi date, but Mike didn't mind. He told the New York Times that Cynthia held his hand and caressed it during her 1-hour phone call. It was at that point that he knew she was feeling him, and they shared their first smooch after the meal. They saw each other again in various cities, including a meetup in an Atlanta suburb, and Cynthia brought along a third wheel, her former Real Housewives co-star, Nene Leakes.
Oh, that's weird.
According to the New York Times, they ate Italian food and then sang karaoke. Mike gave the ladies a show by ripping off his shirt as he sang Forever My Lady by Jodeci.
Okay.
While back in Los Angeles again, at the same time, they met up for lunch, and they had so much fun, they decided to meet up again later that night after Mike got off from work. In his memoir, he wrote that he was very excited to see her again, and he made sure he had some protection. When he got off from work, he called her, and she didn't answer. Then he sent a text, and she still didn't reply. He called and texted a couple more times until he finally realized he had been ghosted. A few days later, Cynthia finally texted him back and told him something came up. Mike was hurt, and he didn't like the way she was handling things with him, so he backed off. However, he knew they met for a reason, so they kept in touch here and there as friends. 4 months later, Cynthia was in Mexico with her daughter Noelle when she posted a bikini thirst trap on Instagram. That's all it took for Mike to slide into her DMs, and Cynthia asked him if he wanted to FaceTime. From there, their relationship really started to heat up. As they got to know each other, Mike started to open up about his past. He was born James Michael Maxwell on August 19, 1970, to Linda Edwards and James Maxwell. In his memoir, he reveals how his biological father was never around and how he later discovered that his...
She just loves throwing that out there. And it's like, all right. I'm sorry about that, brother, but this does not excuse you cheating on every goddamn body. Like, goddamn.
Stepdad was a hitman who spent the last 9 years of his life behind bars.
Did you say hitman?
He told Cynthia all about his marriages, his infidelities, and how he was a changed man. Not only did she support him, but she also encouraged him to write his memoir. By the time she started filming season 11 of Real Housewives, Mike told her he would join the show to support her, despite everyone in his inner circle telling him it would ruin his career.
His career?
Now, remember when we told you a couple of minutes ago that Mike wanted to cross over into the entertainment industry? Was he just using Cynthia to get his foot in the door? Cynthia tried to keep things cool and casual, but 6 months into their relationship, she repeatedly blurted out, "I love you," during an intimate act. As for Mike, well, he wasn't ready to say it back. Later on, she said those 3 words again at the end of a phone call. Mike said that at that time, he was feeling it, but he wasn't ready to say it. By the fall of 2018, he was officially in love. With Cynthia living in Atlanta and Mike living in Los Angeles, they continued with their bi-coastal romance. In January 2019, Cynthia told Hollywood Life website she was open to moving to Los Angeles, and she constantly expressed her desire to become Mrs. Hill. In July 2019, Mike asked Cynthia to be his wife. As Bravo TV cameras were rolling, Cynthia said yes. Although they were engaged, they were still living separate lives. And in an interesting turn of events, Mike told a Bravo TV podcast that Cynthia's 19-year-old daughter Noelle was living with him at his LA home.
What?
Mike added that Noelle was in LA pursuing her goals of acting. He also confirmed how close they were to each other, and he called her his bonus daughter. Not only that, but Mike explained how he's also good friends with Noelle's dad, actor Leon Robinson. So it was nice to see everyone in the blended family getting along. However, the news still made everybody pause. Now, we are in no way implying that anything strange was going on.
I'm not implying that, but it's just a little weird. I'm sorry, it's a little weird.
Eyeing those living arrangements. As 2020 approached, the couple started gearing up for their wedding, and they decided to sign a prenup. It was around this time that Cynthia brought Mike's past cheating history to an episode of The Real Housewives. At the time, Cynthia wondered if he would cheat on her the same way he cheated on all his other wives. But months after filming the episode, she told The Daily Dish that Mike's past no longer concerned her because it had nothing to do with her. She added, "I'm only looking toward my future with this man, and I love the person that he is today." And then the pandemic hit, and Cynthia and Mike quarantined in his Los Angeles home with their children. Eventually, they relocated to Cynthia's home in Atlanta. She told the New York Times that the forced cohabitation challenged their relationship, and they almost didn't make it. They still managed to walk down the aisle in October 2020. Following the ceremony, Mike resumed his life in Los Angeles, while Cynthia kept her home in Atlanta. She told the New York Times, "I'm really working hard on Mike. I don't think he's going to want to go back to LA for too long without me." In October 2021, Cynthia quit The Real Housewives of Atlanta after 11 seasons on the show. She later told Page Six that part of the reason she left was because she wanted to protect her marriage. Weeks later, a since-deleted Twitter profile accused Mike of exchanging flirty messages and explicit photos on a Snapchat account. Despite using social media to cheat on wife number 2, Mike insisted that these new rumors were completely false. He also vowed to take legal action if the false allegations continued to spread. At the start of 2022, it was clear that Mike and Cynthia's relationship was doomed. During an interview obtained by The Blast, Mike expressed his concerns that their marriage wouldn't last. He said that after a huge disagreement following their one-year wedding anniversary, he thought to himself, we might not make it to year 2. In July 2022, the same woman that quit The Real Housewives of Atlanta to protect her marriage told Page Six she was interested in joining The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, to us, this sounds like Cynthia and Mike were on the outs, and she was ready to get back on TV to make some more dough. And that brings us to October 2022. They failed to acknowledge each other on social media for their second wedding anniversary. Mike has been spotted without his wedding ring, and Cynthia has dropped his last name from her Instagram account. On October 11th, 2022, the Jasmine brand website announced Cynthia and Mike have been, quote, separated for a while now, and they've filed for divorce. An insider added, they really do love each other, and it wasn't anything scandalous or anyone at fault. It just didn't work out. We're not surprised. The red flags we pointed out in this video signal incompatibility and a shaky relationship foundation from the jump.
Yes.
Nonetheless, we wish Mike and Cynthia all the best.
Yes, relationship therapist. Listen, she did her homework, okay? I didn't know a lot of this at all. Obviously, I didn't read this nigga book. And I don't keep up with the interviews that they do or nothing like that. So I had no idea that this was taking place. I just saw the shit on Instagram and was like, oh, damn, they didn't last. Damn, that sucks. But yeah, there were clearly things that led up to their filing of divorce. And it was a lot. And I thought about that too when I saw him, on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I heard them say that, he cheated in his past a lot. Like a lot. And I was like, a lot. Usually that's an indication of what's going to happen in your relationship. But, I had hope for them. But, yeah, clearly it didn't work out. Y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.